Ask anyone in this village about Dr. Gombloh Mukio's adolescent years, and they'll tell you he was a pitiful figure. He rarely socialized, spent most of his time engrossed in romantic novels and films, yet ironically, he remained devoid of love. Indeed, that was the essence of Gombloh, a true failure in the realm of romance.
Once upon a time, in the village of Wufi.
His first love story unfolded during his 10th grade year. He became close with Afei, a fellow classmate. Gombloh harbored affection for her, and Afei didn't appear to object. However, their connection only endured for 2 weeks. Afei's friends, both at her school and in the entire Wufi village, often taunted her with remarks like,
"Why would you date such an ugly monster?"
Afei couldn't deny the stigma. Gombloh indeed struggled with a pronounced lisp, which rendered his speech akin to the ramblings of a bewildered monster.
Monster? But I don't really look that terrible, do I?
Gombloh endeavored to convince her. Afei remained indifferent. She was still sulking. Their relationship eventually faded and disintegrated. What remedy could be sought? Gombloh could only wish that the next girl who crossed his path would perceive the authenticity of his emotions, rather than merely scrutinizing his average appearance and financial status. Unfortunately, where could love be found that disregarded physical attributes and wealth? To amuse himself, Gombloh opted to delve into the realm of fiction writing. Despite being an aspiring medical doctor currently enrolled in a co-assistant program, and despite his woeful track record in the domain of love, his imagination was truly boundless. Thus, Gombloh evolved into a prolific creator of romance narratives. A majority of his novels revolved around a physician who captivated the hearts of numerous women. Despite seeming commonplace and unremarkable, his creations were published by prominent publishing houses. In fact, some of them fared remarkably well, undergoing multiple reprints. Nonetheless, to preserve the reader's sense of wonder, Gombloh consistently employed a pen name. He was acutely aware of the potential ramifications should readers uncover that the romantic tales were penned by a hapless lover. His book sales might plummet. His reputation could be irrevocably marred. Consequently, it was prudent for readers to remain oblivious to the solitary romantic narrative forge and the reality that the author himself was akin to a forlorn monster undeserving of love. Until his youth had faded away, Dr. Gombloh only had 2 former lovers. In stark contrast, his contemporaries had garnered at least 4 or 5 exes over their lifetimes. At the age of 37, Gombloh's sole ex-girlfriends were Afei and Hartanti. The fleeting 2-week relationship with Afei was even included in that tally. On the other hand, Hartanti, affectionately referred to as Sister, was the woman he wedded 2 years ago. This union also functioned as evidence that Gombloh was far from being an unsightly monster. Following his marriage, he jubilantly inscribed under his Instagram photo featuring him holding her,
I finally feel whole as a man.
Regrettably, Ha's life was tragically ended by an accident. Now, Gombloh could solely encounter her image through Instagram posts or within his dreams. Other than that, he once again adopted the mantle of the ugly monster, bereft of the privilege of love. Mired in stagnation and desolation, the widower once more sought solace in writing prolifically. Alas, the landscape of the book industry had undergone a radical transformation since he had withdrawn following his nuptials. In the aftermath of a pandemic that decimated numerous industries, conventional publishers no longer demonstrated the same charitable as before when it came to releasing the literary endeavors of writers. Perchance, the cause could be attributed to the economic downturn, and the erosion of people's purchasing power. The ascendancy of the digital era and artificial intelligence further compounded the predicament, shattering Gombloh's aspirations of returning to the literary realm as a scribe of quill and ink. Nevertheless, Gombloh's wellspring of ideas remained far from exhausted. Consequently, he channeled his narratives onto his own blog. The content was accessible to all, albeit not entirely free. Advertising revenue did trickle in, although it only amounted to a sum sufficient for procuring mobile credit. That said, when combined with the meager royalties from his previous works and the proceeds of his clinic in the modest village, he was able to lead a respectable life. What buoyed Gombloh's spirits in his writing venture was the blog's commendable popularity. Each day, hundreds of readers visited. He consistently issued new posts, typically in the morning prior to opening his clinic. His productivity rivaled the era preceding his acquaintance with Ha. The distinction, however, lay in the fact that he no longer concealed his true identity. The passage of time seemingly bestowed upon him a degree of indifference towards the judgments of others. On one occasion, a comment caught his eye. "Ah, this is the same novelist who usually employs the pseudonym Go Loveman, right? How pity that a writer so well versed in matters of romance continues to grapple with a woeful love life. Ha ha." Dr. Gombloh's response materialized in the form of 3 crying face emojis. Curiously, the individual refrained from further commentary. Nonetheless, the bulk of the responses to his blog proved to be constructive and affirmative. Several readers found resonance with Gombloh's novels, identifying with the themes depicted. Testimonials extolling the beauty and emotional resonance of his short stories were also contributed. Even in cases where negative opinions surfaced, they predominantly pertained to the online short stories or novels themselves, rather than targeting the author on a personal level. Visitors of the Gombloh blog hailed from diverse corners of Indonesia, and there were even expatriate workers among the monthly thousands of readers. It was inconceivable that amidst the multitudes, there were individuals who were single and in search of a partner. Unforeseen events unfurled. As Gombloh was about to give up on changing his status as an ugly monster, a few women started to connect with him online. Perhaps the familiarity of his fictional narratives resonated with them. Perchance, they discerned compatibility in terms of profile and candor, or glimpsed facets of his persona beyond the images he posted on his blog. Gombloh's initial intention to uphold a regular blogging regimen was a simple mechanism to stave off feelings of isolation. Additionally, he regarded the blog as a chronicle of his personal journey and a showcase of his literary accomplishments beyond the sphere of medicine. He abstained from explicitly seeking a partner within the confines of the blog. He didn't even allude to his role as a doctor or as a widower. Yet, somehow, every month, an assortment of women would extend contact via email, telephone, or WhatsApp.
Hey,
Someone suddenly tapped Gombloh on the shoulder.
you're really into your phone. Don't you have anything to do today? No passions?
The woman stood in front of Gombloh, holding a cup and stirring it slowly. Her name is Rara F.S. Tiny. Yes, a fave, who once hesitated to associate with Gombloh. However, life led her to rediscover him, as an avid reader of the Gombloh's blog.
Nah, don't act like those tech illiterates from colonial era. They spot someone with a phone and immediately assume they're jobless and wasting time. I work too, you know. I'm writing a memoir.
Seriously? Any title in mind?
Don't know.
Gombloh quipped with a playful grin.
But if you make me a cafe, maybe I refill it.
This one's for you, actually.
A fay conveyed, proffering a cup that emitted a faint wisp of steam. Gombloh accepted it with an appreciative twinkle in his eyes. His gaze drifted to his newfound wife's visage.
Suppose I titled it The Ugly Monster. What would you think, honey?